Hey guys, Altovise here, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. Guys, this series, okay, don't tell the men, but this series really is like true to heart. Like, I love all the interviews. I love the information that has been coming your way. I know, men, I still love you. I love all of you, but this one was a shout out to the ladies. And men, listen, these are some episodes that you could send out to your girlfriend, your wife, your mom, your aunt, and say, you know what, this woman reminds me of you. Don't think we left you out. I'm giving you an edge, but don't tell the ladies. So with that being said, I am super excited about my guest for today. Hello, Allison. How are you?
I'm so wonderful. Excited to be with you.
Good, 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 good. I appreciate that. This is going to be an amazing episode because I love what you talk about. I love, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't love it in the beginning. And as I was going through it, I hated it. I
Tell
hated,
me more. This is
right? I
interesting.
hated having to try to bounce back from stuff. I hated trying to have to come back after something fails or falls apart. I hated that process. A part of it is the introvert in me, but I think the other part is I was just stubborn and I was, I was like, I don't need that. I don't need that whole process. Let's just move forward. And so with that being said, Allison, I want you to let the studio audience know a little bit about you and then we'll go ahead and dive into this topic.
Fantastic. So I understand the resistance to resilience, quote unquote. I'm going to throw air quotes on for the listeners, like training, right? Because the truth is, like, we're already resilient beings. Like, we have that in us, right? And so what I'm trying to do is bring that instinctual resilience into a framework that we can apply it every day, and even in, the worst times, and in the days that are just normal days that we're constantly dealing with stuff, right? Like, at least that's how I feel in my life. So my work, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I have online programs. I've just written a new book called Take Back Your Weekends. And it's really about, how do you solve problems? I have a problem solving framework, and that's what I talk about. And it's part of the resilience. It's part of your emotional health. We can go in a million different directions, but my passion is helping people who feel like they're stuck or maybe really stressed and spinning in that vortex of stress. And maybe they feel a lack of control in their lives, to find a way to say, no, I got this. I've got this, and I'm going to be at my absolute best and step into my brilliance. So that's what I do. And I absolutely love it. And I feel very blessed to be able to do that.
I love that. So I can be honest, you and speakeasy, y'all know I am very transparent on this show. I was like, I'm over it. I don't want to be resilient anymore. I don't want I don't want to be a strong person. And I would shut down completely. Like, I mean, utterly, just everybody, don't talk to me. Just leave me be. Let me hit my
Yeah.
bubble. And phones would be on do not disturb. And even if you called, I would just kind of look at the phone.
Well, and you know what is so great about that? So I'm going to celebrate that. And here's why. Because when you're self-aware enough to know that you're done, like, I need to disconnect. I gotta, like, stop the spinning of everybody coming at me. And it, like, when you know that and you take that time, like, first of all, great self-awareness. Second of all, great boundaries. Like, I'll celebrate that all day long.
I love it. I love it. So now, when it came to take back the weekends, there's so many different angles that I'm thinking of is from, because I used to work retail. And so, yeah, we didn't have off on weekends. So I kind of like rolled my eyes most times when people were like, oh, I work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I was just like, so, but, but when it came time for me to be able to step away from my job and really take back not just my weekends, but my time in
Yeah.
general, it was so empowering. So, what brought you to this moment of being able to say, enough is enough? I'm doing it for me, and now I got to go back and help the others who are saying that they can't do it for themselves.
Yeah. So there are two pieces of this puzzle. So my personal journey and the journey of people who I've had the opportunity to talk with and even coach. So in terms of take back your weekend, it really began when an executive, I was a small team group, like a workshop that I was doing, and he started to cry. And like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and as a trainer, like, somebody crying is like hard. And when he's a 55-year-old man, it's harder. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I'm so scared that I'm missing my kids' childhood. I'm working every Saturday and Sunday, and it's still not enough to get caught up. And I'm like, well, then we got to take back your weekends. And it's not about just a weekend. It's about your late nights, your any time that you're stressing about your life. That's what it's about taking back. It's about taking back that sense of control. And when I say control, I don't mean control. I mean feeling grounded and confident in the moment that you've got this. And yeah, for those who can't hear the beautiful face that was just made, I love it. She's like, ooh,
I was sitting there going like, ooh, yes, because I know that feeling. I know what that feels like. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait, no, you got to do your second one first, and then I'll come in. Know why I know what it feels like.
The worst thing is that with COVID, it's getting harder. Like people are actually finding it a year into the pandemic harder to cope now than they did at the beginning. And so we can unpack why that is if you like to go there, but let's keep going with the stories. So part of the problem, so another client, you'll notice a theme, people cry around me. So I was with a coaching client, shouldn't be laughing. It's not funny. She like 3 minutes in, she just starts crying. And she's like, when I'm working, I feel guilty because I'm not with my kids. And when I'm with my kids, I feel guilty because I know the to-do list is piling up. And I'm like, and she's like, no matter what I do, it never ends. And I'm like, exactly. That's the point. It's not a to-do list. It's a task circle, right? It just keeps going round and round and round. And so that frustration, I know we can fix it. Like, I know we can fix it. And here's why I know, because I used to be the person who was stressed out, working 18-hour days, 2 jobs, like they were fantastic jobs, by the way. But I just didn't go. And what I ultimately ended up realizing was my busy was a deflection technique so that I didn't have to deal with the heartache, the grief, and the physical pain. So my philosophy was power through. And if I keep powering through, and eventually you cannot power through anymore. People say, if you're going through hell, keep going. You know what? That philosophy is actually like a trip to burnout.
Whew. It's the reason why, and the reason why I laughed as well is while I was working a full-time job, working in retail management, I was still trying to be very active in my children's lives. And so as a single mom of 4, that was hecka hard. And so things like when they had musicals or when they had, they were in band and things like that, I tried my best to be able to be there. Even though there was moments where, my kids were home and I had to make dinner before I left for work, because by the time I got home, it was too late to make something, things like that. It really does, like, nobody understands how much of a toll that really does put on you as a mother. And then by the time you do get home, you're frustrated from work, you're frustrated with whatever is going on at home, and now you're a complete mess. And so I had a breaking point because I had requested off for a concert for my girls. And I said, yeah, I'm excited. I did it in like a month in advance. And my boss still put me on the schedule. And I was at my breaking point. So when it was time for my dinner break, I left and I went to the concert and I came back an hour and a half later.
Did you didn't lose your job, I hope, right?
I was written up. But
fair enough. Well,
Yeah, like I didn't care. Yeah. I requested off for a reason, and I really didn't care that That's why I started laughing when you said it. And I was like, oh, yes, I felt that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's interesting. I'm curious if that was a bit of a power play by the person who was doing the schedule, knowing that you wanted it. Anyway, we digress. Uh, but getting curious about these things, right? Like, why would somebody do that instead of like being really angry about it? Like now you can laugh. It's in the past, right? And so, okay, so we'll keep going on this. So what happened? I had a surgery that should have been fine, right? It was a simple cyst. I woke up the next day in the hospital with what felt like a serrated edge knife just into my pelvis. And I didn't know that that was going to be my new companion for the rest of my life. And so I just kept going. I'm like, the pain's going to go away. The doctors are like, oh, give it 6 months, you'll be fine. Pain medication, right? And 2 years later, I had 5 surgeries to try to fix the first, in and out of the hospital with the doctors. And I I remember I was like, you know what an ugly cry looks like, right? And then if you add on that high pitched squeal with a bit of like a, that, right? So that was me for an hour at the hospital with my neurologist. And I'm like, you have to take me back. I can't take the pain anymore. I can't do it. I'd had like 5 people in my life at that point had passed away suddenly, and I was just done. And he said, Allison, he said, you are never going to work full time again. You are never going to be off of medications. And the medications they had me on were not nice. And he said, it's time for you to reevaluate your expectations for your life. And we got to start talking about you going on disability. And at the time I had a speaking business training, so I was doing what I loved. And I was like, I like, nobody's like, there is no disability insurance. I don't have that. That's not even an option. There's got to be a better way. And he said, well, then you're going to have to learn how to be resilient. And I'll tell you, like, I get little chills, right? Because he said that. And I was like, it was like this little light going ding, 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 ding. Oh, you mean there's something I can do that will give me my life back? And I left that hospital on a mission to be like, okay, I am going to figure out this resilience thing. And I got really frustrated with the advice. Like, I'll tell you, it was like, people say things like, oh, just let it go. Yeah, I can't let it go. It's a knife stabbing into my body. Like, it's not possible. Or they'll trivialize it, or, they won't understand. And I'm like, okay, I can't look for validation from other people. It's my pain. I got to find my own path. And one thing that you said earlier that I just want to highlight, because it's the phrase bounce back. Because so often when we talk about resilience, we talk about bouncing back. And the truth is, I was sitting in front of that doctor going, I need you to take me back to my pre-surgery body. And the problem with the phrase bounce back is that the very notion of change, the very notion of, coming through something, is that we actually can't go back, because what was back no longer exists. And so all the years that I spent so focused on going back to pre-surgery body, before the pain, before the scars, before everything, was time wasted for me learning how to embrace and accept today in the present moment.
Ooh, I love that. I love that you broke that down, because I think that's where we are as women. And we can be very transparent as women. When we have children, we want that pre-baby body.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Right.
As women, when we get married, we want that dating husband that the guy we were dating, we want him back. We don't know who this new guy is. We want the one we were dating. And so, sorry guys, there's some things that, it's a huge adjustment.
Yeah.
It's a huge adjustment. We're at different phases in life. children are going off to college, children, our parents may be, ill and we're taking care of them. And so it's like these different phases. And we always have to find ourselves kind of readjusting for every phase that we're in.
Yes, I love that for readjusting for the phase you're in. Bingo. Like that's exactly it. Because if we're longing for the phase we used to be in, we will rob ourselves of enjoyment for the phase you're in.
Yes, I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And so, okay, so when it came to taking back your weekend, for
Mhm.
you, Allison, what was that one thing that you were just like, okay, it may not be the actual weekend, but this thing, I had to take that back. And
Yes.
y'all don't have any, like, your opinion is not needed.
Yes. Fair enough. I think the biggest thing is understanding the difference between tasks, obstacles, and adversity. So this is critical. And I know we don't have a long interview. I still want to have a second just to unpack it because it will shift how you see your life in terms of all the things you have to do. So so a task is something that just needs to get done. An obstacle, we face them every day, and they're things that we need to find solutions for. An adversity is a catastrophic external force that you can't control that will forever change the way you know your life to be. Now, tasks need to be done, obstacles need to be solved, and we need to heal from adversity. So often we reverse this as a society. So we'll glorify the task. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy. We will dramatize the obstacle. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what he did. And we will diminish the adversity. How are you doing? I'm fine. You're not fine. You're going through a divorce. You're not fine. You're going through COVID. You're not fine. You're going, it's like, but we do that. And so part of my philosophy is the task, anytime we add on misplaced emotion or negative storyline or barriers to performance, like things like worry or procrastination or not setting boundaries or, saying yes when we should have said no, or complaining or comparing ourselves to other people or self-judging and harsh criticism, all those barriers to performance. I have 31 of them that I list in the Take Back Your Weekends mini book. Anytime we do that, we make a task more complicated. And that's what's sucking our capacity. That's what's eating up our days, are taking those tasks and those obstacles and adding on the misplaced emotion and the negative storyline and a little bit of worry and complaining and all those other things mixed in. When if we just did the task, we would literally eliminate probably 85% of the fanfare around it. And the example I love to use, especially this moment in time, because I'm in Canada. I don't know about you, but it's tax time. Okay. So people have to do taxes. And the thing is that people get like really dramatic about doing taxes. So they'll procrastinate for weeks. They will, not do it all year long. Like, it's a whole thing. And then it's like, they'll call you and like, what's up? Oh, I got to do my taxes. Right. And I'm like, I thought you were doing that 3 weeks ago. Well, I got to still do them. Right. Like, nobody likes to do the taxes. But the thing is, when you add all the fanfare around it, it becomes a really big issue that sucks hours and potentially days out of your life. Whereas if you just did the taxes, it just get done. And so these are the habits. This is the human experience that we can unpack, and we can interrupt those patterns. I work with people who are severe worriers. I come from a long line of worriers. Like, you would not believe the level of worry that exists in my heritage, my family, to the point where the other night, my mom, I'm going to tell this little story. My mom miscalculated how long it took me to get from from her place to home. It's an hour and 20 minutes. And she thought it only took me 45 minutes. And I texted and said, hey, I'm home. I'm good. I'm going to unpack and, go. And she was on the phone with somebody for a couple hours and then looked and then did the math on the time and thought I had been kidnapped because I could not possibly be home in 45 minutes. And so I didn't know what to do. But it was too late for her to call me back because it would, like, if I was home sleeping and she knew I had to get up really early. And so she literally stayed awake until 6 a.m. in the morning, concerned that her daughter had been kidnapped. So if anybody out there is feeling like they're judging themselves because they're a worrier, please, there is zero judgment from this end of the microphone. But here's the thing.
You, Mom.
That's a fun story and really sad for my mom and I. We laugh hysterically about it and everything else she worries about. But here's the thing. If you're a worrier and say you're worrying about a job review, right? Next week, I'm going in for my annual review. And you spend a week, your whole weekend is like, oh my God, I hope I've done a good job. What if I lose my job? Then we start getting into the catastrophizing, right? Like, what are they going to say? We're walking in nervous. You've literally taken a week of enjoyment out of your life.
Yeah. And that was me for a while, for a long time. Because you kind of play out different stories.
Oh.
And it's crazy because the stories you play out in your head never happen.
No, it's like a down payment on a problem you're never going to have.
Exactly.
And so here's the thing about worry, because we've talked about that, because it's all made up fiction anyway, right? Like you're just creating the stories. So my challenge to you is to create 2 extra stories. So I'm going to lose my job. Actually, I'm going to get a promotion. And I'm going to get a raving review. So here's the thing. The brain then interrupts the pattern of getting caught on the negative storyline. And then that way, you may not believe it, but at least your brain has a little bit of a fighting chance of not spending, the next week getting caught up in the worst case scenario. It has other storylines because it's all made up anyway. It's all just our own perspective. So if we're going to make up a story, why not make up a good one? That's my thinking.
Exactly.
And it may feel naive, but it feels better, right? And then trusting yourself.
Better.
Because if the worst happens, and like we have seen some really tough stuff happening lately, like we're all in the middle of this. And, yet here we stand. Here we are. And we're going to keep moving forward, right? Like, trust yourself that you can deal with the worst. And then you can stop fearing the worst.
I love that you said that, because I used to tell people, as entrepreneurs, we say, oh, well, I can't leave the job. I can't, I need the disability. I need this, I need that. And we shy away from really going all in on a business idea or, some creative idea that you have, not knowing that you could be doing something amazing, but we're stuck, we're kind of stuck to that. Okay, if I leave, then as soon as I go out the door, I'm going to get hit by a car and I'm not going to have any insurance. And we're like, wait, no, first of all, there's insurance.
You've got a great imagination too. You and my mom should hang out. Yeah. You're so right. And you know what? I think as women, especially, and I remember this very early in my career, I was so scared. Like I had big dreams and I didn't know how to network. I didn't know where to go to meet people to network with. I mean, I was a bartender and a receptionist, right? Like that was, and I wanted big dreams, but I didn't have any confidence. And, I remember being in the shower, washing my hair, and I'm like, this pity party's got to stop. And because I had a job offer, like a job interview opportunity, and I canceled at the last minute. Like I was just like, because I didn't have confidence. And I'm like, from now on, when an opportunity presents itself, I am going to talk myself in, not talk myself out. And as women, we do it all the time. And we've got to choose, like, the only person who can stop it is ourselves, right? And be like, okay, yes, all of those things could happen. Yes, somebody might laugh at me. Yes, somebody might not like my work. Okay. And somebody could love my work, and you could impact somebody's life. And so when we get so caught up in the negative storyline that we don't even bother to manufacture a positive possibility, we are robbing ourselves of opportunity in our lives.
Whoa, manufactured some positive possibilities. SpeakEasy listeners, I hope y'all were paying attention. I hope y'all were writing notes. Let's just be honest about that. If not, go ahead, press that pause. Go ahead and rewind. Go back, write down those notes, and really put some things into action. That's one of the biggest things that I'm always promoting, is that, don't just get the information, but take some action on it. Go ahead and, within the next 24 to 48 hours, do something, because it creates momentum. So even when you wake up in the morning, you listen, whatever you need to tell yourself in the morning, have it on an index card and have it be the first thing you look at. Have it be on your phone and have it be the first thing that you look at. And really encourage yourself, or connect with the people that can encourage you. I think that's a valuable resource that we still have not fully tapped into, that accountability, that mentorship and coaching, because, some people are still a little nervous about jumping into coaching programs, but it's valuable. It is so valuable. And when you work the program works.
Absolutely. And you want to be careful. Like, some coaching programs are really good at sales and not really great at delivery. And so there are other programs that are bad at sales and are phenomenal at delivery. And then there's the ones in the middle. And so with coaching, like, it is so important to invest in yourself. It's important to take, small steps, big steps, leaps, bounds, like, read the books. You've got a book, that I don't know if when this airs, it's going to be out or not, but I'll tell you, I want people to be, it's Unmuted, right?
Yes.
That is the book you put together with some incredible stories of inspiration and triumph, and is going to be perfect for anybody who needs that juju, juju. That's a very technical term. But, like, if it's a small thing. So what I always recommend with coaches, start small. Buy the book, consume their consistency online, come into Clubhouse. That's where you and I met. So blessed to have met you in there, right? Like, consume. Don't buy from a sales page in an impulse. Buy because there's someone who resonates with you, and trust your gut.
Ooh, that was valuable. I love it. I love it. SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, again, I'm doing this series because I want you not only to hear these stories and hear what these women, different women all over, have been able to accomplish, but I also want you to go and support. And so, Allison, let them know how they can find you online, and also if they're interested in getting the books, how they can get the books or get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So my website is allisongraham.co. So allisongraham.co. Everything is there. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's just allisongraham.co/LinkedIn. It'll link. And same with Clubhouse. Like, I am on Clubhouse and I love it because we can have a conversation with people who, like, how would you and I have ever met, right? Like, we're on different sides of the border. We're like, we can't even get to each other right now.
Exactly.
Like, physically, right? So Clubhouse is bringing people together, and I love that. So allisongraham.co, come find me online. The new book, Take Back Your Weekends, is available through that, and as well as all my online programs and some really cool, blogs and all of that. So thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you. I love your story. Congratulations on the new book. And also, congratulations on being that person that did not give up. I think a lot of times, even, no matter what obstacle we had to overcome. We don't often hear somebody say, congratulations. Why? Because, they're thinking, oh, you should be past it, or you should do. No, congratulations,
Thank
because
you.
you continue to wake up and you continue to push forward, not just for yourself, but for other people. That makes a difference.
It's awesome. Thank you.
And so, Speakeasy audience, listen, we do it all for you. Make sure that you let us know how this episode resonated with you by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. That part. And then also, you can go and join the conversation, bit.ly/World Voice Community. We would love for you to come in. Let us know if you have some things where you've been kind of struggling in some areas, or what you said, this was confirmation for me. We want to hear those stories, and we want to be able to share them out as well. With that being said, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.